3, 2, 1, 0, and mission sequence start. Woo! Here we are. The Leo Zagami show 20 minutes late. Christy.
It's your fault.
I know. What can I do? I have to prepare this show. I have to prepare the Italian show. I have to prepare all these shows.
And InfoWars too, because they were asking you questions.
Yes. I'm going to actually answer this question also here live during the show that was forwarded to me by the producer of Owen's show regarding the flag that was, of course, showed by the Pope the other day. So we have some news regarding that, and we have much more today in the Leo Zagami show. So let's start, huh? Let's start. Okay, welcome to the most unusual geopolitical analysis to date. It's Leo and Christy.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, I'm the author of this great book. You need this book to survive the impending apocalypse. Volume 7 of my confessions from the occult roots of the great reset to the populist roots of the great reject. This is a serious book, available also in hardback, not only in paperback, but we also have it on Kindle. And those who purchase this book will, of course, be welcome into the Great Reject!
Hi, everybody. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Danisha. Hi, Pima Farina. Okay. So here we are. We have a lot of news, and we have, of course, almost 2 hours to deliver them. So let's start, Christy. Let's start.
Okay, get this dancing over with.
Okay. Leo, Christy, we are the Leo Zagami show.
Very gray today.
This is 50 Shades of Grey.
That's gray.
Ooh. Okay, I can see you. You are tuning in from all over the world. Okay. Let's start with the news, because, of course, we have a lot of news, and it's all coming out of Ukraine, but it's also coming out of this new world disorder. So where should we start from? Where should we start from? We have some. Okay, let's start from Ukraine. We have some exclusive news for you, which is very interesting, because there's been a lot of talk about the butchers of Bucha. The butchers of Bucha, a lot of talk about them, but in reality now, a mainstream journalist from TG5, which is basically Berlusconi's TV channel, maybe wanting to help his friend Vladimir Putin, though Berlusconi has said that actually he's a little bit disappointed. He said he should have followed his advice and his lead into peace and love.
Didn't they do a bunga bunga?
Well, that's yeah. Well, in fact, Putin took very seriously the love part, not so much the peace.
So he was doing all those bunga bungas?
Well, who cares?
I think it's interesting.
Of course. But let's move to this journalist from Italy who has exposed somebody is spamming a war with direct democracy. You have to stay on topic, please. Otherwise, we're going to have to, unfortunately, block you. But let's go to this journalist, Luigi De Biase, who said he managed to talk with 2 of the alleged butchers of Bucha, and they actually left the military back in December. So, and there were this photo that was paraded on the Ukrainian this photo was paraded as the people, indicating them as the butchers of Bucha, responsible for these terrible massacres. You can see them. Most of them are Siberian. You see, when you have this this is Siberian, because part of Russia is, of course, into Asia. That's why we have also the Eurasian element. But let's go to this interesting news that, of course, is not been delivered yet by any English-speaking media, probably in the next few hours. But in the meantime, we will be the first ones to deliver this news. Now, one of the military that was showed in this image, by the way, Anonymous then also exposed all these militaries that were supposed to be there, putting their name, addresses, and of course, putting them in jeopardy. But this journalist actually managed to find a couple of them in Yakutsk, and they said that they have left the military months ago. They were back home. They had all the people in this photo, which was paraded by the Ukrainian propaganda as the butchers of Bucha, had left the military by the start of this war. They were already out of the military. So it's complete. It's a complete and utter fabrication. There, at this point, I mean, when we start seeing this kind of disinformation, we of course can't trust anything else that is said by these people. One of the two militaries, one of the militaries in this image, actually, called Vladimir Osipov, said to the Italian journalist that they all left the army in December. So how did this photo came out? It was last Monday, when the Ukrainian government was starting to promote this whole Bucha thing, and had published this photo, made it public, and distributed to the media the names of the brigades, Russian brigades allegedly involved in occupying Bucha. And the first list included the one, basically the battalion in which this guy was in. And he said, well, it's impossible, because they have all left the military. And these people who are accused for being part of the terrible events that allegedly took part in Bucha have never been in Ukraine. And this has been, tweeted also by Luigi De Biase. This is a journalist, I repeat, from TG5, an Italian news outlet, which is, of course, owned by the Berlusconi family. And it's rather weird that we have to see this news only delivered by one journalist who had the courage to go and finally do his job, which is to investigate. Can you put the temperature a little bit lower? You know that will not be possible, for example, in Italy. In Italy now, there is a new law.
But he's Italian.
No, I'm talking about the air conditioning. There is a new law that prohibits people to put the temperatures down below a certain limit because of the war. I mean, Italy is becoming really...
Well, nobody has air conditioning in Italy.
Well, some people do.
Hardly we didn't.
So, well, it's rather cold, so it's not that... But in the summer, it gets very warm, especially in the cities, like Rome. So, this this is the journalist, Luigi Di Biase, who is basically has been capable of contacting a couple of these militaries, and the interview is actually being published on Il Manifesto. Il Manifesto used to be basically, back in the days, the official communist newspaper. So it's rather interesting also, this element in the story. However, Osipov said he served until 2021, and he said that the people in the photos, they are all conscripts, you know, like people who were obliged to do the military service, and he knew them, and they had all left the army by December. Another of the soldiers, Andrei, who was required, the journalist, to not deliver his full name for security reasons, he said that basically the photos that were shown in the last few days, and not only that, but also the people who were exposed by Anonymous with their names, address, everything on the internet, is basically fake. And since then, they have received threats. They have basically received threats. They have been trying to, of course, try to, in some way, talk with journalists that didn't want to really hear them, until this guy, fortunately, managed to here we go. So the fact that these photos have been distributed by the Ukrainian government, and they result in basically fake news and a blatant disregard for the lives of these soldiers who have nothing to do with this war, because they were conscripts, they were people who served in the military and finished serving in the military. So they have nothing to do with this war. A Ukrainian singer who is called Oleksii Potapov has also published on Instagram the images and the message, the images basically that were distributed, the images of these soldiers. These soldiers basically from Yakuti, they are, of course, like we said, they call them Yakutis. They are Siberians. You can see from their faces the way they look. And threaten them, calling them assassins, rapists, and all that. And this, of course, it has brought the soldiers from Yakutia, the extreme orient, the extreme east of the Russian Federation, to say, we are a Siberian battalion, but we are not the last monsters of Putinism like they are accusing us of being. So I actually might write an article to clarify this matter for the English-speaking people as soon as I have the possibility. And now, of course, I would like to go on the second article and topic that was instead this flag. We talked about it briefly in the last episode, but today I wanted to go a little bit more deep in it, like I did in my answer to Scott, the producer of Owen's show on InfoWars, because it's, I think, a very important element that is surfacing here that you might be interested in following. Okay, first of all, welcome to the Leozagami Show. 34 minutes past the hour. We are here in Pacific Standard Time. It's 10:34, Mountain Time 11:34. Then we have Central Time 12:34, and then we have Eastern Time, which is 1:34. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, I got them all. We are broadcasting live, so we will be welcoming at one point also calls from the audience, but we also will ask you to support us with the purchase of our books. Volume 6.66, for example, very important book. Christie's books, volume 1 and 2 of Her Confessions, and of course, volume 4, volume 5, new edition, and the latest one, volume 7, which is an essential reading in these critical times for humanity. And of course, if you have purchased all the books, but you still would like to in some way support this show that tries to be on the air at least 3 times a week, yeah? Mm-hmm. We will require you, of course, to also help us with the occasional donation. Mm-hmm. Even a few dollars a week will make it possible for us to carry on in our mission to deliver the truth about the New World Order, and of course all the various invisible masters behind the scenes that are, of course, working to transform. What's happened?
I don't know. I'm just like
the light.
It's annoying me.
Okay, is that okay?
Yeah,
now?
it's better.
Is that okay, Casey?
Yeah, it's
what?
It's fine.
It's fine. So the temperature is 68. Mm-hmm. That's good. So you can help us with GoFundMe, with Fundly, and if you are in the United States or in Great Britain, with Cash App. And now we can move on. We can move on with the topic that we were discussing, the flag. The flag. Let's go back to this flag. Here we have Pope Francis showing basically what is a particular flag. It's not the classic Ukrainian flag. And this flag is actually the flag of the Ukrainian land forces. And this flag that, of course, was shown by Pope Francis, and we will see it again so you can analyze it together with me. This is, of course, the flag of the Ukrainian ground forces. As you can see, this is their emblem. There is, though, a slight tendency to mark also the Maltese cross in a way in Pope Francis' flag. But there is also a tendency to mark what is really the hidden movers and shapers of the Ukrainian military. And now I'm gonna show you something, and this is something that I shared, of course, just this morning with my colleagues at InfoWars. This is the flag, once again, just so you see it from a close-up. So you see, it's not the traditional Ukrainian flag. It has seemingly a Maltese cross, but in reality, like I said the other day, it's the cross of the International Order of Saint Stanislaw. And why I'm saying this? Because the International Order of Saint Stanislaw has been involved in the military and political life of Ukraine for a long time, issuing at time, creating at time even some controversies. So let me show you what happened here a few years back. We're talking about 2003. So the Kiev Post, as you can see here, the Kiev Post, published an article by Eugenia Mussuri about this politician, local politician called Chernobyl, who wanted to criminalize Freemasonry. Okay, now this bill in the parliament never really passed because, as you can see from this article, People's Deputy Taras Chauvet submitted the bill on February 7, day after Socialist Party chief Alexander Moroz had a news conference denouncing a group of 300 Masons, he said, were serving in government and military posts. He said that membership in the organization was incompatible with government service. He identified the Order of Saint Stanislaus. So you see, this is basically the symbol that was then used as the emblem of the Ukrainian ground forces, because you have to understand that the Ukrainian ground forces came into existence with the current symbol in the 90s, when the Order of St. Stanislas started their operations in the Ukrainian soil, sponsored by George Soros. It says here, which counts numerous high-ranking government officials among its members as a Masonic organization. So, as you can see, Leo Zagami doesn't give you conspiracy theories. He gives you facts. That's why you need to purchase my book, so you can know the facts rather than the speculations on these important matters. And like I explained this morning to my colleagues at Info, this whole thing is linked to the Order of St. Stanislas. The order is not affiliated with Freemasonry in an official way, though both are non-profit charitable organizations, and they are actually linked with each other because, for example, one of the most prominent members, which I personally met and actually went to dinner and lunch several times in the 90s, was a gentleman from Great Britain. I think he was called Stephen Turner, a friend of Jonathan Bolter, and somebody who I met in a lodge in London. Used to be a member, I think, of Double Horizon Lodge, and Chernobyl, a member of a parliament, blah, 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 said that he wants to amend the country's own criminal code to make membership in a Masonic lodge a criminal offense. It never happened, of course, it never happened. And in the end, the people on top convinced Chernobyl to not move further any accusations, because the bill they wanted to provide even for a prison sentence up to 15 years for those members of the international fraternal organizations couldn't be done, because at that point Soros then in that period created the Orange Revolution, and this whole thing was dismissed. Chernobyl at the time though alleged that Masons are obliged to take an oath that overrides their duties as citizens and all that. And then it said also that this though will have put Ukraine in trouble with the European Court of Human Rights, that as a rule Freemasonry is not a secret society or an illegal organization. Now, it says here, nevertheless, the Parliament Committee on Organized Crime and Corruption at the time, we're talking about 2003, recommended in Ukraine that the bill be adopted on first reading. Representatives of Ukraine Masonic organization known as the Grand Lodge were unavailable for comment. The head of the Ukrainian Grand Lodge was killed suddenly, wow, in an automobile accident on April 9.
That's when?
In 2003, when this whole thing was coming out in the open. An American Mason familiar with Masonry in Eastern Europe, speaking on conditions of money, said that the attitude toward the organization in Eastern Europe are worse than Western Europe. He said official communist ideology taught that Freemason was a dark and powerful force within the capitalist global government, which probably it is. At this point, we can say that it definitely is, though I don't think it's a capitalist global, more of a socialist global government, that the teaching has certainly left its impact on the population. In fact, the impact is there. Like we said in the past, in Ukraine, their most important day is Dignity Day, which takes its name from the Dignity Order of Giuliano Di Bernardo. In fact, here we have a whole history of how Freemasonry developed in Ukraine. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union, Freemasonry has been introduced or restored in the Russian Federation and most Eastern European countries with the help of European and American lodges. In 1993, France's Grand Lodge chartered a lodge in Paris for the purpose of initiating Ukrainians. So this is a very important thing, especially now at the moment when France is in its own internal battle with the possibility of Marine Le Pen taking control. And by the way, the France Grand Lodge, I mean, it doesn't specify if it's the Grand Lodge of France, but probably it is. In that case, it will be connected to the Grand Orient of France. But it could also be the Grand Lodge National de France, which is the regular one connected to England. In 1996, a lodge was established in Kiev. And 2 years later, another lodge was chartered in Kharkiv. Both lodges are administered from France. So you see this very close connection with France. In 1998, though, Italy's Grand Lodge chartered 3 lodges in Ukraine, 2 in Odessa and 1 in Kiev. By 1999, the Italian Grand Lodge, and this was the regular Grand Lodge of Italy, chartered 3 additional lodges in the country and formed what is known as the Grand Lodge of Ukraine. So you see, the Italians are directly connected, and like I said, the person who helped this, because Italy's Grand Lodge in this case was the regular Grand Lodge of Italy, was basically responsible with Giuliano Di Bernardo for inspiring also what is known as the Dignity Day. So this news, of course, in exclusive here on the Leo Zagami show with Leo Zagami and Christy. And of course, we have also a lot more news coming up in this show. That, of course, it's also dedicated to the main problem which we're gonna be facing, which is the imminent possibility of food riots due also to this crisis, possibility of the inflation/food riots, I will call it. The situation, like we said the other day, fertilizers come from Russia, so that is a big problem, and come, of course, also from Ukraine. But this is going to become very difficult in the next few months, the situation. These days, the experts are saying that a global shortage of fertilizer could result in horrifying famines all over the world. So we're talking about famine here. And right now, to a very large degree, we are still eating the food that was produced in 2021. So the crisis will not be felt yet, but after the summer, we will start getting into the real crisis. So what is the new world order and the governments that operate with it trying to do before then? They will probably try to implement further lockdowns and regulations surrounding the imminent arrival of some other variant, which will definitely be able to at least keep under check the population in some parts of the world. Let's see, for example, let's make an example. For example, in Hong Kong, for example, we know that there is a great opposition towards China, but the opposition has been silenced thanks to the constant use of the lockdowns connected to COVID. So there is a strategic use of the lockdowns, a strategic use of COVID that unfortunately we will be witnessing probably even here in the US. The lack of fertilizer will mean far less food is grown in 2022. Now, we have, of course, the energy prices, which will be going out of control. And this was even before the war. So it's not only going to get worse. Has definitely brought this crisis to a next level. So the fertilizer shortage has added growing concerns about the Ukraine war's impact on the price and scarcity of certain basic foods. Russia is, of course, involved with exporting 11% of the world's urea and 48% of ammonium nitrate. These are essential compounds in the making of fertilizer. Russia and Ukraine together export 28% of fertilizers made from nitrogen and phosphorus, as well as potassium, according to Morgan Stanley. Now, global hunger has already rose significantly in the period of the pandemic in both 2020 and 2021, but not yet at the level that we will be dealing in the months ahead, because what we will be dealing in the months ahead will bring shortages, rationing of certain products in the shops. That means that, for example, you go to a shop, this already happens in certain parts of Europe, even Italy, for certain products, you will only be allowed to buy one, maximum two. A little bit like you remember in the pandemic with the toilet paper. You were allowed to buy only one set of rolls, you know. It was like you will find the writings, you are only able to purchase one. And the same would be for sugar, would be for flour, would be for potatoes, would be for a lot of products in the months and years, unfortunately, ahead. Now, since the beginning of 2021, so long before the crisis in Ukraine even started, the fertilizer prices have already doubled. And some prices of the fertilizers have even tripled. So this was already putting under pressure the whole chain, you know, the production of food. And in Vancouver, for example, $210 per metric ton was the price of how fertilizer was traded, and then southern trade now is $565. So it's like we will have to find on the Chicago Board of Trade in early 2021. It was valued. I mean, first it was like 200, 300. Now it's $887. This on Tuesday, the price. So we are talking about a real big increase. Now, this increase has already brought riots in the streets of some countries, like Peru, in South America. So, in Peru, fertilizer prices have experienced a sudden increase that was impossible to face for already a country which is not really doing that well. So, the production of rice in Peru is having problems. That means there is less rice, and tens of millions of people are starting to get anxious, under starvation, and will, of course, riot. And they're doing that. They're starting to do that. This is so. The fact that the Peruvian Association of Rice Producers has denounced the problem, it doesn't mean that the problem stops with the denouncing it. The problem moves on, and while the farmers in Peru won't be able to afford to plant crops all over this year, in the meantime, already we have people in the streets, and the problem has not even started yet. So what's going to happen next in countries like Peru? But let's remember that here in America, in North America, we might not be at the level of famine that will be touched in Europe, because in Europe, they are definitely going towards famine. For the food scarcity, they don't have grains, they don't have flour, if not out of Russia and Ukraine. That means that Europe, and that's really the incredible thing about Europe. We are seeing that there is almost in slow motion, a sort of suicide, collective suicide of Europe, because doing what they're doing by rejecting completely what Russia was providing them with will put them in a very bad place, very bad place. So Europe is basically increasingly moving towards a sort of karakiri, like some analysts have defined what and Ursula von der Pippen, I call her, Ursula von der Leyen, who is, of course, the head of this group of technocrat idiots, went to Ukraine yesterday, and she she made this show arriving there. Let's see it. I mean, this happened yesterday in Kiev. Of course, nobody's wearing mask. Make sure that nobody wears mask.
You're welcome.
What a pleasure to see you.
The same about me.
Yes,
How are you?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you that you're
Wonderful to see you again. It's been half a year now.
Maybe. I don't remember. Nice to meet you. How are you? Anyway, you're very welcome. I'll check out with you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Rady bądź. You was the yes.
Can we have a handshake?
Next to Ursula von der Leyen, also Borrell, which is basically another representative, high representative for the European Union and the foreign affairs of the European Union. But all this just to show you how the EU has voluntarily chose, in a way, to completely side with Ukraine, and at the same time, you know, Ursula von der Leyen is a German, and Germany knows very well that without the gas, the oil coming from Russia, they will be facing the closure for various days and months of some of their most important factories. When here we are talking about factories, here we're talking about BMW, Mercedes, and all kinds of factories that will suddenly not have the elements to move with, and all this because of their choice of siding with Ukraine, which of course, I mean, it's a choice. You make that choice, you suffer the consequences, but the consequences, unfortunately, will be suffered by the worldwide economy, and in Europe, the consequences are going to be very, very heavy. Now, the Americans could be soon paying $1,000 more a month for their groceries. So we really
$1,000
more. So if you're paying now around 1,000, you will be paying 2,000. So I want to make it very clear, guys. This show, we produced the show, and to produce the show, we need lights, so energy like air conditioning. Like I said earlier in the show, in countries like Italy, for example, air conditioning, now there is a law that from today tells you that you can't really use air conditioning. For us here in the desert, it would be impossible to apply this law, and at the temperature that they have suggested in Italy. Of course, we are not in Italy, thanks God, but for how long we will be facing...
Yeah, but we're in a calmy California. They'll turn off our electricity.
They will
They'll do that.
They will do. But what I wanted our viewers to know is that we need your help. We need your help because the cost of producing, the raw cost of producing a show, and that is simply the lights, the internet, and everything to produce a show, is going to increase. And we really need you to start donating. I know that since we stopped PayPal, most of our English viewers have stopped donating. Now, I want to stress this once again. We have Fundly, we have GoFundMe, we have Cash App if you're in the United States or Great Britain. If you will not be able to do so, we will have to cut the shows, and we will be able to do maybe a reduced version of these shows 2 maybe times a week, because there is no possibility for us to continue at the same pace that when we have production costs that of course increase. So just so you know, if this tendency that unfortunately there is a tendency in the English speaking world to not donate to our show, which is okay because you've been purchasing the books, but if the purchase of the books stops, then we will have no way of supporting this show. Okay, Solar panels are a great way to move forward. And in fact, that's where we are heading. And we suggest already in this book, actually, the purchase of a solar generator. That is very important. A purchase of a solar generator. They come in different formats. There is one even for $1,500 that can actually help your whole house. No, you can do the fridge, do the TV, do the computers, and that is really very important element. So here we're talking about portable unit.
I want to say something about the show.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that maybe me and you should think about, like, on the show during the week, if we do a show during the week, that maybe we do it earlier. Because I noticed that when we do the show on Tuesday and Thursday, we have a lot of people. Somebody
said, you just told us the food will double and you ask for donation. Of course we ask for donations. We are here not to waste our time. I mean, what kind of rational they have, these people? I mean, don't you think?
Anyway, I think that
we are providing. No. I want to make it clear here. We are providing a service here. So if you are interested in supporting it, we are simply asking you to support this service. We don't have a sponsor, unfortunately. So the sponsor is you. If you don't do your part, we will simply not provide you with this service. That's it. So
if you didn't buy the InfoWars products, then if you didn't buy the InfoWars products, then there wouldn't be an InfoWar. I mean, there would be no show.
Yes.
So we're like
we tried to be on Bando Video. Unfortunately, something happened, so we don't know what happened. If it was a decision made directly by Alex, but we were not. We don't really know that.
We don't have a regular. You don't have a regular spot on InfoWars. It's just whenever they call.
Yeah, and we no longer have any. We used to have one with Arizona. Apparently, that also has gone out the window. So, I mean, we are here on YouTube, and we're trying really to survive because, I mean, they have removed 15 channels since October 2020. Yeah. 15 channels. Somebody says, Alio, do you think writing to the embassy in Russia can be the solution for those who live in Italy? No, I don't think that is the solution because you are in NATO territory and because Russia's rules to actually have you in their territory are very strict. I remember, I mean, I worked with the Russian Ministry of Culture for years, and there is some very complex procedures to obtain a Russian visa. You have to be invited by a Russian company or by the Russian Ministry of Culture, like it was in my case. But somebody said, maybe if you do more shows, you get more viewers. No, we actually tried. The problem is that we lost our viewers when they removed our channels. That's happened over and over again.
You're doing really well.
We were doing very well with our last channel that was removed, the Top Secret, the Leozagami show. And suddenly, when we start to get really a good amount of views, we're kind of catching up to what used to be the Leozagami show with a lot of thousands and thousands of subscribers. Unfortunately, it was closed in October 2020. But when was it closed? January? The other Top Secret Leozagami show. So I mean,
yeah, they just closed that one.
So
I lost all the videos. It's on Rumble and all those things, but they don't get any views. It seems like everybody.
So I mean,
it's just a difficult thing doing these shows.
They definitely the problem is that they keep on, like somebody is saying here in the chat, stealing your momentum, because of course every time we are about to be successful, boom, they just purge us from YouTube. So that's why I tend to then disappear for periods of time, so I can then process my books, work on my books, and then make sure that I put together a book. So if you don't see me anymore, if you don't see me and Christy anymore, or with the same regularity, you know that we're working on books, we're doing other things, because unfortunately we also have to, in some way, carry on here in a new country where we were forced to move in 2019, after being persecuted, arrested, tortured in Italy, which is not just a joke, it's a fact. So we had to leave the certainties. I had to give away my properties. It was kind of painful to give away a $20,000 car for $5,000.
Yeah. It's just,
you know, or give away all your furniture that you'd worked on for years to purchase for nothing, basically. For how much we made with all that furniture? Nothing. A few $100.
We left Italy like Ukrainians.
Yeah, we really left. So, I mean, I feel for Ukrainians that have to leave their houses and have to leave everything because of what they are suffering. But remember, guys, that Europe is no longer a place where we can say democracy, freedom of speech, and all these things are actually implemented. No, I mean, I was persecuted, and I am an example that Europe is going in completely the wrong direction, because that's what happened.
I just want to say we have a lot of European and English speakers in Europe and other countries that are not in America. And so when we do our show at 5 o'clock in the evening, it's really, really late in Europe. So I was thinking that maybe we should just try to, focus on everyone, all of our English speakers, and not just the Americans, and try to do a show earlier.
Yeah, we will work around.
Like this one always has a lot of our European.
We will be working around to provide shows. Maybe if not anymore on a regular basis, we will still provide the shows, but maybe we will experiment different time, and then maybe also shorter shows, just because of the cost. Like I said, the production cost, in case we can, in case the cost of the energy and the cost. The problem is that here in see, Christy, here in California, they suggest you to use electricity at specific times.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the specific time? I think it's in the afternoon.
Yeah, they've already told us that we've gone over what our neighbors are doing.
Yeah,
so
they actually say,
they send a chart and they say you are using.
Yeah.
Like half of these condos, there's nobody in them. So.
Well, of course.
I mean, a lot of people aren't even here.
Yeah, well.
They're sitting empty.
Yeah, but as the current conflict is definitely going to expand and definitely is going to prolong, and we're going to suffer for a bigger crisis. So we might also suffer from internet outings, because what has come out of George Soros' mouth should make us all a little bit worried. And what I'm talking about was just published today. Creepy George Soros is predicting internet blackouts. So what does he know that we don't?
What happens to cryptocurrency if the internet goes out?
Well,
what happens to
it? Stays in the wallets. If people have it in the personal wallets, if they have it instead
on the internet?
Well, you can also have it in a private wallet if you want. But most people have it in this, those Coinbase things, So don't keep anything in cloud. Try to keep it in a hard disk. Global experts have been warning of a cyber pandemic for years now. So internet blackouts, and this is what Soros had tweeted. Internet blackouts limit digital freedom and stifle dissent. Holding mobile phone services provided to account can help counter this. He's talking about digital freedom. The guy who basically supports this European technocracy that is a bunch of crooks and criminals to protect digital authoritarianism, telecom companies must.
They really are crooks and criminals and liars and all of it. But
like I said, there is definitely a situation that it's George Soros is basically talking about digital blackouts, and we need to take that into account, because in that case we will not be able to really be with you with the same regularity. What would that happen? Then what will you will say? What will happen? How we can get in connection? What you're doing? How can we know more what your research no, people will start questioning how we can reach your research if we are no longer on the internet. Well, in that case, I suggest the books. Now, at the moment, Amazon has been able to provide with no problem our books in every corner of this planet. We have now a new Amazon where in the Netherlands. So
they're not buying in Japan anymore.
In Japan, we've been censored. So the Amazon, basically Japan has ceased to publish our books. We hope that's not a trend that will be followed by any other outlets of the Amazon network.
The funny thing is that it shows up when I look up your books on Amazon Japan, it shows up. But when I go and I look at the sales, it's zero. It's never been zero. It was zero all from March. So in February they were buying books, but then all of a sudden they were buying like way too many books, and so somebody in Japan got nervous, and so now they're not sold. So I don't think like the Japanese see the book. Maybe I see it from over here, but like I don't think that they are seeing it. They trick.
They have some way of censoring. In Japan, this heavy censorship has been already like this for years. In social networks like Twitter.
I mean, I love Japan so much, so it was heartbreaking that this happened. I love the Japanese people, and I know there's a lot of people that are interested in your work that live in Japan. So I lived in Japan. We went to Japan. It was the first place that published your books. So, you know.
Yeah, they were the first
before
ones.
Everyone.
Yeah, before everyone, they published my books. I was really...
But I pray for them, and hopefully it won't always be like this.
So going back to the plant crops and the food, we see that countries like Peru already can't afford to plant crops all of this year. Will this happen also here in the United States? Is it not going to be profitable for many farmers to grow corn this year because corn needs a high amount of fertilizer, for example? Now, that is a question that might... we're talking here about an erosion of food security on a scale we have not seen for a very long time. This was something that was also... I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it means like very little pasta left, no eggs, this and that. In some places, apparently, there is already problems. There are already problems. So the shortages that we might be seeing soon are definitely very worrying. So I want to show you an article here. An article that says something that I think we can all agree with. When there is no food, there is no peace. America's time of plenty is ending, and the casualties will be catastrophic. A reader warning with shocking new images.
Oh.
So, Wichita, this is Walmart. Empty shelves. I mean, you will be witnessing this more and more. So I will ask all the people who are viewing this video today to share it in your social network, to put like if you want to, of course, support us. You can also, you know, it doesn't cost anything to share the video or to put like. If you are not able to give us a few dollars, spare a few bucks, then you can at least share the video and try to bypass the censorship. Somebody is saying in Dutch supermarkets, the first sign spotted too expensive, shut up on Ukraine. Wow. The headline, so you see this, the headline that we just saw is a direct quote from an email from a reader who travels and visits different stores in multiple states. Generously spending time to provide the all news pipeline which is basically an alternative media on the internet with images like the one above, as it helps us document the food crisis here in America. So the email message that he sent says, worse here than have seen yet. Chicken section is virtually empty. We know also, we discussed the other day, the fact that we have the bird flu. This is the way stores are going to start to look. This is Walmart. And
how does Walmart look now here? I mean,
it's starting to have certain things that are disappearing. Starting, not at this level yet. This is, of course, Wichita, but it's starting. So we have, this is the pasta section, and still there is a little bit of pasta, but not probably as much as it used to be. Pasta is definitely very important for me personally, as I'm Italian, but it's very important that you provide yourself with large amounts of pasta. So for the problems that we might have, you know, we are heading towards a period in which the pasta will triple, quadruple, 5 times the price of now. So this week I'm going to purchase a lot of pasta, and we don't, unfortunately, where I live, I don't have any space left. So I'm going to have to put it under the bed.
yeah.
So we're going to just stash pasta under the bed.
I can make it. I'm going to learn how to make it next week.
Yes.
But you need egg. I mean, I think there's a way that you can make pasta without eggs.
Yes, there is. There is a way. It's not easy.
Because the way I see it is you need eggs.
You need, most of the times you need eggs. But I mean, that's because it kind of brings it together more easily. You can also do it without the eggs. It's not as easy, but maybe with some kind of flour you can manage. So it says here, seems like pasta is sold out every store I've been in. Americans foolishly think we couldn't ever fall like Venezuela or Argentina. They're getting ready to be awakened from their unprepared slumber. When there is no food, there is no peace. And that is the title. So first it was eggs, and now it's also pasta. This is the Sioux for Walmart.
That's Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yes, South Dakota. No eggs for over a week, very little pasta left. This is the shelves.
Wow.
So then we have, you know, this is I mean, we will try to making artisan, how to make a world of handmade noodles, stuffed pasta, dumplings, and more. I mean, I guess
learn how to make your own.
Yeah, you can, you know, there's a book here.
How to make a world. I'll take a picture of the ravioli I plan on making. That's why I'm starting with a hard thing, but just I want to make ravioli because my grandmother made ravioli, so I want to make it.
So we will be forced, some people say, to eat insects. Well, I hope not.
I'm not going to eat any bugs.
Rice as well. In Sri Lanka, riot broke out due to currency collapse. Yes, it's true. India went 6, but India, you see, has very good relationships with Russia, and it's not yet really touched. But you see, countries like China, India are actually allies of Russia in a way, and so the allies will be treated well, will be given what they need, will be given their fertilizers.
So does Russia, do they have a lot, do they import a lot of things, like, I mean, do they get a lot from like other countries, or are they self-sufficient?
They are self-sufficient.
Since they have the fertilizer. I mean.
They are self-sufficient. They are great producers of biggest producers of grain, wheat, just like Ukraine partly is, but they have definitely the possibility of getting whatever they don't have from China. So I mean, and India, because let's remember one thing, that 80% of the medicines are produced in China. The other 20 is produced in India. So basically 100% of the drugs, medicines that we need also are produced by both China and India. We are not self-sufficient with that. we will have scarcity. In that case, I would suggest people to go to Mexico on a regular basis, because Mexico is a neutral country with Russia, is a neutral country and with their status of neutrality, their pharmacies are probably going to have more medicines that we have. So, you should start stocking. Yeah, you should start definitely stocking food now. We have already for a while, and we have maybe 2 or 3 months, but that's not enough. So from the coming week, I will suggest most people to purchase as much as you can flour. Flour is already gone up the price now. When you purchased the last time, you should purchase another one.
I don't have anywhere to put it.
We don't know. We just put it under there.
I need to get rice.
Pasta. We're gonna have to stash, even because we live in a very modest situation here. We don't have.
I hate thinking about this stuff. I hate it.
No, but
I absolutely hate it.
How big is this place?
600 square feet.
And we really have it. We had a friend who wanted to send me some excellent products from the InfoWars store, and I told him, I don't have the place where to put them. I really don't have the place where to put them at the moment.
God put us in, I think it's funny, we were put in really small quarters, so we have to like each other.
What's that?
We really have to like each other, because every time I turn around, you're standing there. I can't hide.
Well, yeah.
Me too. You can't escape me.
We are living in.
But I'm grateful for everything.
Yes, yes.
So it's much better to live here in this house than
freedom.
Anything that we ever had before.
I mean, I had a big villa in Italy, but then I had the police coming in the middle of the night, and I had bad experiences breaking down of the door by the police only for what I wrote on Facebook. I mean, it's better to be in a freedom-loving country still. Of course, if they started to clamp down on freedom here, then we're gonna be in a very difficult situation. We're gonna have to start thinking that maybe this internet lockdown, this internet blackouts will be basically put in place so they can in some way screw us up and censor us.
Well, that's going to screw us up, because they made everybody dependent on the internet to buy groceries and everything else, do your banking. They made everything on the internet. So then if there's no internet, you're just like, okay, what the heck,
You're getting secondary and tertiary trickle-down effects, supply lines that will be disrupted for months with an increase of protectionism and populism. Well, of course, people will get increasingly upset. People will get increasingly upset. People will get increasingly angry. That's why the Great Reject really explains you how to come together in a like-minded community to start preparing for the possibility that we have the societal collapse, and at that point, living at the big cities is very important. Living in the big cities is very important. It's one of the most important advice that I can give you at the moment. Somebody said, go to GCN radio. Well, I used to actually be on GCN radio back in 2006-07. Then they stopped having us there. I think it was with Greg Zismansky. We used to have a show there. I don't really know them. But definitely GCN radio, I remember them. So the way you lose the internet from your primary source, you can jump off other networks. Can we find all the books also in Italian? Not all the books in Italian. You can find some of the books in Italian because we are translating the other and preparing the publications of the missing ones. We have republished in Italian the 3 new editions of Volume 1, 2, and 3. we are moving for the production of volume 8, which is going to come in simultaneous in English and Italian, which is a big project we're working on. And then we will have the translation in Italian of volume 7, volume 6.66, and the republication of volume 5. So, I mean, there's a lot of things, and volume 4, a lot of things, but hopefully we will manage to do all this, you know, before the total collapse of the internet. And but I always advise people to purchase hard, I mean, a copy, either paperback or hardcover, but a physical copy of our books.
Yeah, no internet, then your Kindle goes away.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't have a Kindle.
Leo, why no super chat button? Because super chat button, you have to connect yourself with all kinds of things. And we have been banned from YouTube several times. So we don't really have that kind of, we don't provide that kind of thing. I think for the super chat, you need to give all your details, documents, bank account, whatever. I don't know. We haven't done that. But we like we said, we have this possibility here also broadcasting at the same time on Facebook, and on Facebook we have also Leo Lion Zagami in America broadcasting the Leo Zagami show. Hello to John Burrows, hello to Massimo, hello to Chaotic Anarchy, hello to Jojo Chiriac, hello to Honeybee. Hello everybody, this is the Leo Zagami show, and of course,
can we take calls now?
And that's it. I was about to say it. But before we go on the calls, I would like to instead discuss another shocking moment that happened yesterday at the funeral of an important figure of Russian politics, Zhirinovsky, the ultranationalist who founded his own ultranationalist party in the early 90s, in 1992. And Zhirinovsky was visited at the Christ the Savior Cathedral in Moscow by Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin, who showed up with his nuclear briefcase, a very old school 70s, 80s nuclear briefcase. You will see it now soon, but some people say, why does he have an old school nuclear briefcase? We will discuss also this in a moment. But most of all, I would like to show you the article first that was published by The Sun that pointed out on this event that happened. And then we will, of course, show also the video. Here we have the article. Going nuclear, chilling moment when Putin is pictured with Russia's secret nuclear briefcase at funeral amid fears of World War III. See his military intelligence officer next to him with the nuclear briefcase. And here he's paying tribute to his friend Zhirinovsky. And Zhirinovsky was definitely one of the most unusual and very colorful kind of politician. I don't think we have kind of similar politician here in the United States, but definitely a very colorful figure. Here is the moment in which Putin arrived with his nuclear briefcase at the funeral. And as you can see, behind him, the guy with the nuclear briefcase. Now, the briefcase, what's in it? It's a very 70s, 80s style briefcase. Watch it. Here it is, old school.
What is that red button?
It's here, he basically has thousands and thousands and thousands of nuclear, a whole nuclear arsenal of 6,000 missiles. He can launch and destroy basically most of the planet. And this was a chilling reminder for all those idiots who continue without any sense of responsibility to drag us in World War III. And it's really a scary very scary thought. These people don't have any sense of responsibility. People who every day are saying, yes, let's send the weapons. Now, Russia yesterday reminded everybody that sending weapons, apart from the fact already getting Finland and Sweden to join, Finland, which has almost 1,000 miles of borders, I think probably even more, I don't know, with Russia. Finland, which, by the way, has also train lines, even a super fast train from St. Petersburg to Helsinki. This is a particularity that has only Finland with Russia, because Russia has a few meters of difference on the train lines, so that trains can't invade Russia. This is a military thing that was done, of course, many decades ago. So as you have a standard for the whole of Europe, you have a different standard for Russia. So when you go on the Russian trains, they are slightly larger because they are a few more meters in the thing. So that means that if you carry a train invasion in Russia, it's impossible because you don't have the same lines. When instead the Russians can, with a modified kind of train that arrives into Europe and in Helsinki, invade the whole of Finland because of the military tanks carried, as we have seen in the case of Ukraine, on trains before then being delivered on the ground. And so regarding the insane attitude that we are seeing here, I mean, it's like there is a complete insane attitude that I don't really understand. I mean, during a meeting at NATO headquarters in Brussels among the alliance foreign ministers that took place 2 days ago on Thursday, the US and the UK led the way in forging a fresh agreement to give Ukraine new and heavier weapons. And basically, a limited number of Czech-provided Soviet-designed tanks have already been transferred to Kiev, reportedly with the quiet assistance of Washington. But the quiet assistance of Washington doesn't really mean anything, because the Russians know that it's a full-on assistance. And this agreeing to provide this assistance is basically like declaring war. So basically, that's why Russia has said that there is an increase now on the possibility of a direct confrontation between Russia and America. This is a really bad thing, Chrissy. What do you think about it?
I said it from the start. We shouldn't be getting in a war with Russia.
It's a very bad situation, huh?
We had come so far, and now we're just like back in the 80s again.
No, even worse than the
Even
80s.
worse.
80s were actually at
no.
The 80s there was a lot of show. There was actually a Gorbachev who was starting the glasnost. So in reality, we have seen a lot of propaganda of machismo, movies, Rocky Free, all that stuff, and Clint Eastwood with that Fox, whatever, that plane, Firefox, and all that. But I mean, it's also a big show. No, here we're talking instead of the possibility of an escalation, and of course a possibility of a nuclear confrontation. And the direct confrontation with Russia must be avoided. But if they continue with such
why are they so bold? I mean, what makes them like so bold?
Because the people in charge of our security are the same people who participate to who want Katanji, whatever, fixated with transgenderism, giving $900. The people in charge of the military in the United States are a bunch of people who think more of their sexuality. When you enter the army forces today or the CIA, you are judged by the color of your skin and by your sexuality. So if you're lesbian, non-binary, this and all this bullshit, not the effectiveness of a military structure in the hands of people with balls. I repeat, balls. And men have balls. Women don't have balls. It's a physical thing. When war starts, I don't care what people would say on this show, if they call me machist, masculist, whatever, but then you have men and then you have women. Because the men, you see, one thing that I have noticed here is Obama, who participated to that disinformation conference. Obama, who basically said things of a certain interest, though, because also regarding this conference, this was the conference we have showed the other day, that student who, but Obama, during this conference full of clowns, it was a clown show, with real clowns, like this woman who said basically she wasn't interested, this journalist, she wasn't interested, look how ugly she is, inside and out. This woman who basically said, I'm not interested in the computer or laptop of Hunter Biden. I don't think it is relevant for the presidency. When instead it is completely relevant.
But you just wrote a piece called Why We Should Read Hannah Arendt Now. And I raised that not just because she taught here and we're very parochial, but because you wrote your first line of that very good piece was, so much of what we imagine to be new is old. So many of the seemingly novel illnesses that afflict modern society are really just resurgent cancers diagnosed and described.
And all these things, they like to
websites. You can, that will take articles that have been, seeded or prepared in advance.
They talk about disinformation. They like to, but in this conference there was also Obama, and Obama during his talk said something about the fact that, well, we never really had the peace during the millennia of mankind. It's an anomaly that we have 70 years of peace after the Second World War.
Those should proceed. I think what we can do is support them and their efforts and their courage. And I think the other thing that we can do is take this as a lesson that sadly they're paying the price for, but that we still have, that speaks to a much more bumpy, difficult, violent, challenging future for the coming generation if we don't get some things right here at home, in Europe, and in Asia, in Latin America, because these are not, what's happening there is not isolated. What we're seeing is a reversion back to old ways of thinking about power and place and identity. And I think part of our complacency grew out of the notion that once the Berlin Wall fell and Mandela was released and the world was flat and you had McDonald's everywhere, and now suddenly that was it, and we were done. And we forgot that post-World War II 50-year stretch to 60-year stretch, that's the anomaly, right?
Not even 70. 50 to 60 years is a stretch, is an anomaly.
That there is millennia of brutality and pillage and violence and displacement and cruelty, we created a set of institutions out of 60 million people dying in World War II, and tried to reconfigure, how we might organize our societies. But it is not self-executing, right? It's something that we have to continually that we have to continually nurture and respond to new circumstances.
Well, this was Barack Obama giving his take on the present conflict.
Everybody says that he's so charismatic and but like when I look at him, I see a sick person. Like I don't see him well. I can see that he looks polluted to me. I don't know. It's like I don't see him as like I don't see all this like charisma and all that. It just looks like completely like what I said, polluted. And maybe because he smokes so much, I don't know. He used to be a smoker when he was president.
A smoker.
Yeah, like a heavy smoker. So, I don't know. He just doesn't look healthy to me. Because he's the Antichrist.
Maybe because he's the Antichrist. Well, definitely he has showed the world who really is in charge of the White House with his latest visit, no, Christine? The other day. I mean, it was pretty obvious. Now, guys, we are about to open the phone lines because we only have 20 minutes or so left.
It's like the Omen, like when the Antichrist comes in and the political figure and like everybody's like, and he fits that.
Definitely. That's why in an article that I wrote for Renz.com back in 2007, maybe I can find it still. Let's see. Obama Antichrist. Before he was even elected, I said he would be the Antichrist. Article that was published on the 13th of February 2008. Actually.
Wow, look at that.
Here we are. Article by Leozagami. Obama Freemason related to both Bush, Cheney, and of course his appearance out of nowhere because of his bloodline, and his maybe the next Antichrist to hit the U.S. presidential scene will be darker than some people have expected. That was, of course, the first article, first of all, because he wasn't even president yet, but also the first article in the world to call him a possible Antichrist. That was Leo Zagami, who, of course, provides you with the best books that you can get and purchase right here, right now, with the links that I provided at the bottom of this video.
Callers,
let's open. Okay, let's open the phone lines for those who want to join us for a brief encounter with Leo and Christy Zagami. The lines are open. You will be given the possibility of doing only one question, giving one question only, because otherwise we need to give questions possibility for many people. Otherwise, one person steals the show for everybody else.
Okay.
What do you think? Huh?
Well, it just goes on so long, and then we have to go. So.
Well, that's it. So +1 970 577 6369. I repeat, +1 970 577 6369. +1, of course, if you are calling from outside the United States of America. Here we are, ready for action and ready to take your call. So nobody's calling. So we will go on with.
You're so mean.
No, I'm not. Come on. Okay. So let's go to some news regarding Hunter Biden, because Hunter Biden, of course, no surprise here, the Democrats have basically refused the motion to subpoena Hunter Biden before Congress. They have demonstrated once again that they are the party of corruption, incompetence, and they will do anything to protect Joe Biden. So refusing to hold Hunter accountable for his shady business dealings is really something good. Okay, welcome to the Leo Zagami show with the Christian Leo. Welcome.
Hi, Leo, what's going on? Chaotic Anarchy X, you probably seen me in the chats already. I've been actually curious. You were one of the last people I believe to have seen Jordan Maxwell, and Jordan was very versed on almost everything worldly. Did he have anything he left with you before he parted us?
Yes, we created with Brian Vecchio, who was a caretaker, a order that we will be discussing in a show that will be probably broadcast next week from the Age Truth TV, which will include also some videos of us with Jordan. And he was very much, he had this idea that to defeat the New World Order, we had to create these like-minded communities with the Great Reject. He endorsed the idea. And that's why we have also a video where he actually, one of the last moments of his life, when he was actually reading his name and the Great Reject project mentioned in Volume 7. But aside from that, he left also a variety of documents, thousands of hours of broadcast, interviews, and archives. There is a lot of work that we will be doing in the coming months to put together his archives, following his wishes.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
So awesome.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, I thank you again, Leo, for you were one of the last. I remember one of the last shows I've seen with you before he passed away. You were saying you were going to see him, and I hadn't heard anything else after that. And I honestly feel that Jordan didn't like to say it a lot, but in a sense, he was kind of like the Jesus figure that nobody knew about. He knew so much, and yet nobody knew about anything really about him until they go searching down these rabbit holes. And I just felt like he was, he is a big catalyst of so much knowledge. Like you're saying, he's left plans for us to do what is necessary.
Yeah, and some people, when we were doing this interview that we broadcast, is me and Brian, interviewed by this gentleman from Denmark called Lucas Alexander. I will post, of course, the interview as soon as it's on my channels, as soon as it's published. But at one point, the interviewer says, but why did you feel the need to have an order? And I said, and I say very clearly, it wasn't my wish. It was the wish of Jordan's. It was his own wish. He wanted this order of the New Dawn. And I was actually a little bit puzzled at the beginning when he proposed me this whole thing, because I said, Jordan, are you sure we want to do this? Because people will come up and say, you are also Illuminati, you're Freemasons, you're this and that and all the other. And he, though, said we need to have a mystery school-like kind of situation because of the way that this knowledge is so much and it's so important, but we can't really deliver it in a way that is superficial. We need to protect the fact that we can plant these seeds for a new society that will come after me. So I followed his wishes in that, of course, me and Brian, of course, who was his caretaker until the end. And also the fact that Brian did all this work without really anybody acknowledging him. And that's why I wanted him to be publicly interviewed by Age of Truth for this exclusive interview, because he really helped Jordan until the very last day. I was there, of course, also on and off, but he was the one who really took him in his own home. And so I feel like it's very important that also the people who really helped Jordan and who were really planning with him, because we had a plan, you know, we were kind of like, we're planning together something.
And they were just moving on, you know, like he wasn't going anywhere, you know, they didn't think that he was going to go.
Yeah, I mean, nobody thought he would be dying. We really fought until the last time. I mean, I visited until he basically, until the last day that he will be able to survive, because he was actually doing some rehabilitation when basically he kind of deteriorated, and then he died. So our plan was actually.
I'm sorry, he was looking. I was going to say that the last few videos I've seen him in, he certainly started looking very, very tired. And
yeah,
I'm sure you guys have been around enough elderly people to know, like, when they look tired like that, you know, that's probably why you had all the more urgency to be like, look, we need to start establishing things now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was very much into getting things done quickly, and I was actually also very adamant in wanting to film the last months of his life, because you know, we needed some testimony of what was going on. So, you know, I would just bring on my camera most of the time when it was possible to film in, and of course kept most of this filming private. We would probably not release all of it, but what was the intention of Jordan was to create this order as a platform in which then we can discuss all the current mystery schools, religions, secret societies, everything, and then formulate a new kind of solution for the impending apocalypse, because he believed that we were very close to it just as much as us. So his own idea of God might have been different from mine. I'm more traditional. I'm a more traditional Christian, but that didn't really stop us to collaborate, because we created in this order a sort of board in which there was a sort of fluidity, and of course the inputs of all the various participants will be respected. So I think we can carry on his legacy and his work, and I think that it was great to have him as a mentor in the last year of his life. He moved here, and it was a great opportunity, definitely. But even before, as soon as I left from Italy, actually, you know, I mean, I spoke for the first time with Jordan in February 2019, before I even left Italy, and I explained how this happened in this interview that will be coming up next week. So please tune in to the Age of Truth for this interview.
I will absolutely. I will be looking out for any of those videos for you.
Yes,
please get them out as soon as you guys feel necessary.
Yeah, no.
I honestly feel that is the major work that we should.
One more thing. We are planning, and we were planning something, a community here in Southern California. We had already the land, we had already the whole place discussed. I don't know how feasible that would be anymore, because now that he's dead, probably, you know, the other people that were participating to this project might kind of like fall out of it. I don't know if we will be able to still maintain the idea of a great reject community here in Southern California. We will try, but that was
try it, man. I mean, it can't hurt. Just try it.
Yeah, but that was his last will, and like I said, he left thousands and thousands and thousands of documents in archives that are well kept, and we will have to work maybe for years to put and catalog everything together, but we will do that. And it's going to be with great pleasure that maybe in the coming months and years we will probably publish some new work from Jordan out of these archives. So thank you very much for calling.
Beautiful. Thank you. You guys, God bless you, and have a good afternoon. Okay.
Thank you. And we will be welcoming also other calls regarding, of course, Jordan, like I said, there is this interview. You had the interview while we were doing it. What did you think, Christy?
I think it was really good that you did it with Brian.
Yes.
I think that he's really a humble person, and he did everything. He's very, out of the goodness of his heart.
Yes.
And he didn't ask for recognition. I saw a lot of people, oh, I knew Jordan, blah, blah, blah at the end. But it was Brian.
Yeah.
And, a lot of these people like him, there's a lot of people out there that actually do things and they don't want recognition for them. They just do it just to do good. And I think that's really great. And I think he's I was saying to you yesterday, what a great person I think Brian is. And, I'm glad that you know each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody that's affiliated with, those people are all really, really, really nice. They have really good energy.
Yeah, let's hope we can still maintain even after. Now that the order needs to be a little bit more structured. Now that Jordan is not alive, let's hope we can carry on his legacy in the right way. So we might be going there next week.
You met Brian through a man named Nick.
Yeah.
That I wrote about in my book, in my second book. And I felt like he was an angel. He showed up at Contact in the Desert. We were having a difficult time. And he just really took us under his wing and helped us. And he just continued to do that. In the months that followed, he knew things about cars and he helped us with that. And anytime he needed advice. And then, he ended up introducing you to Brian because they were friends.
Yes.
I'm really happy for
absolutely, and it was incredible that Jordan himself reached out to me in February 2019 out of the blue on Skype just one day. And I was like, what?
I never met Jordan in person.
No, because then when I used to go to Jordan, Christy used to stay home most of the time because she didn't want to be distracting us. And I was like, hey, Christy, you're welcome. We were supposed to actually, I brought Christy's biscuits and stuff, but you wanted to meet him to maybe cook a meal for him. That was our great plan that we wanted to do in the future. And unfortunately, sadly, he left us before that happened. But he liked your biscuits.
That's good.
And we have a video to demonstrate that.
I'm supposed to make spaghetti and meatballs. So.
Yes, you were supposed to make spaghetti and meatballs for Jordan, but so there is basically an idea here, which is that we are definitely on the verge of something bad happening, but it's also true that we can survive it if we find the right people. And of course, first of all, you have to look after yourselves, guys, because, we're all in it together. But when the shit is the fan, at times you can really not rely on anybody, if not yourself. So you have to have already a preparatory stage in which that you can survive this, because you have enough food, you have energy supplies, you have the right thing and everything.
I think what's important to me is that when this stuff happens, that I'm close to the people that I love, because they're the ones that matter the most. So
yes. So keep yourself, your family.
Try to get together with your family, the people that you love, and bring them around you, and just, together form a little unit, and then maybe we can all form from those little units a bigger unit, We have to do this. We have to do it. It's our mission to do this great reset. So this is why we're here.
Great reject.
Not
great
reset.
Reset, they are already doing it, and they are very, unfortunately, very powerful, and they might be able to actually get away with it because people are simply brainwashed by TV, by these creepy people that we find into
and they just
politics
copy.
and so
they just
on.
say things, you know. Okay, Ukraine, you know. Oh, we support Ukraine.
Now,
really
before I leave you, I want to leave you with because we're talking about Marine Le Pen in France becoming maybe president. I doubt that can be possible, but something happened in the summer of 2019. We discussed it in the past. When it happened, I discussed this. There was basically a group of Italian politicians in Moscow with Matteo Salvini. And this is an audio regarding Russia and the fact they wanted to sponsor these parties that were trying to fight the Illuminati in Brussels and in the US. So they actually say Illuminati here. It's like in this film. So please listen to this.
Next May will be the European election. Really want to change. The new Europe has to be close to Russia as before, because we want to have our sovereignty. We want to really decide for our future. Italian, for our children, for our sons, not depending from decision of Illuminates, of Brussels, of USA. We want to decide.
So you see, I mean, it's like not I mean, here is like very clearly, Illuminati are mentioned. Not depending on decision of Illuminati, of Brussels, of USA.
We want to decide. Salvini is the first man that want to change all Europe. Together our allies and colleagues, the other parties in Europe, as Freiheitlichen in Österreich, in Austria, German Alternative für Deutschland, France, Madame Le Pen, and other countries, the same, Hungarian.
So as you can see here, this recording was so controversial that pushed actually Salvini out of the first government he was part of, that kind of imploded, and then they had to put back together another one. But there is a clear reference here. So the Russians trying to bring their own control of Europe, opposing the Illuminati in Brussels and the US. All this, of course, guys, is the Leo Zagami show. We have reached the end of our show. We thank all the people who have followed today.
I gotta get Rambo.
Rambo, go and get Rambo. Huh?
He was so good.
You're so good, Rambo. You're getting used to it.
No,
What do you do?
I fed him.
Oh, you fed it.
Took him out right before. So.
Oh, Rambo, come here. Yay. Rambo. Huh? Oh, he's a little sleepy, huh? Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please share it with your family and friends. It's important. He's sleepy yet.
I got lipstick on him.
Thank you for calling. Please purchase the books so we can carry on our mission. And we speak to you soon. We will be probably with you again Tuesday, maybe Tuesday, because we will change the times around. Maybe Monday, depending. We will make sure.
We'll try to do this earlier, though.
Yes.
Love you guys. Stay safe. Stay positive and pray. God's going to get us through. Faith in God is going to get us through.
The Leo Zagami Show, live from Palm Springs, California, Saturday, April 9, 2022. Au revoir.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Bye bye. And now, is it the pizza time? We have any pizza?